Today being the afternoon of Sunday, the 12th of October 2025, I greet and welcome you again to our channel where we engage, discuss and exchange ideas and knowledge on the questions of innovation in technology, science, and engineering for the development of solutions which would result in improvement in the development in the quality of life of people in the African continent. Welcome again, and thank you for being part of us, being part of this movement. As we always do, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel and also to comment on the issues and topics and subject matters that are covered, but also to comment and contribute in how do you see us developing or improving the method and mechanisms of delivery of the subject matter to you, other people in our continent and the rest of the world. So let's continue doing that. I invite you to actively participate in that process. As you may have noticed, last time we introduced the concept of innovation. We decided to look at it not only in general and broad terms, but we looked at it from the point of view of life and biological sciences. Today and tonight, I would like us to delve even deeper than that. I like us to look at it's still within the biological and life sciences, but I would like us to look at innovation with respect to the development of drugs, of medicines that are used by us, by human beings, and also with respect to the development of vaccines, that is vaccinations. So we're looking at innovations, technology and innovations from the point of view of drug development and vaccine development. Vaccine, as we all know, vaccination is essentially the introduction of a weakened version or mode of a germ, a pathogen, a germ into the body, a germ, a substance that is known to cause harm. Health-wise, health harm, biological harm to anyone, that is known to do that, that has been shown and proven to do that. So it's like vaccination is the introduction of a weakened form of that particular substance, disease-causing substance, which could be a pathogen, or a microorganism, or whatever. Microorganisms could be a bacterium, a fungi, a virus, or whatever. Introduction of that form, so that of a weakened form of that a disease-causing substance, so that in the future, when the organism, the human being in this case, is attacked by that, the body has already developed mechanisms of producing of countering the effects of that disease-causing substance, and hence the body is essentially immunized. Hence the interchangeable use of the terms vaccination and immunization. That is one part. The other part, the other aspect that I wanted to look is on the question of development of drugs and medicine, which is a very complex, lengthy, and extremely expensive undertaking and process from research and development, resulting in the identification of, say, of that active substances and compounds, to studies, laboratory studies, to animal studies, and animal studies in the lab, right up to different phases of clinical studies on animals and human beings, up to the stage where the drug or the substance that's been developed is administered on human beings to test or to verify its efficacy being its effectiveness in dealing, in countering the disease, its efficacy and safety, and obviously the distribution and so on, and the monitoring of that over time, over many years. It takes a long time, 20 or even longer years, and involving employment of highly sophisticated and comprehensive resources and cooperation among scientists of in different fields across the world, and resulting in the drug that is then administered, distributed and administered. So tonight's subject or concern is I like to challenge myself and challenge you and everyone to look at innovations. How could innovations in Africa impact or have a positive effect on those two elements that I've talked, on those two critical areas of scientific and commercial, health and commercial endeavors and engagements, that is drug and vaccine development. How could innovations in the sciences in Africa contribute to those two main subjects? That is what tonight is about. I would like us to think strictly and solely from those two, within those two parameters that I have deliberately developed and imposed on us. That is how I like us to look at things tonight, and to look at capabilities and investments that will have to be made in the continent of Africa to make sure that we develop a sufficient amount of drugs and vaccines, so that we don't find ourselves as a continent, as a people, in the situation that we found ourselves when we had an outbreak of the COVID epidemic. I hope I'm clear. And as we always do in this channel, we don't want to confuse things and matters. We like to limit and focus our engagement and endeavors to particular areas which I've just outlined for tonight. That is what I'd like us to look at, and how our institutions of higher learning, our industries, and institutions of research and development and business combine their expertise and resources to address those two areas. That's what I'd like us to look at. Next time, we'll look at other related areas, and time allowing, and we'll delve deeper again into this subject. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I thank you again. Utemba Wagamataba, thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.